Hello, everyone. This is Peter Stone. As the sun sets here in Thailand, the lighting changed dramatically in the last 5 minutes as the sun set. But I'm not going to turn on my light. I'm just going to sit here and share what's on my mind, which is, there's this thing going around and people are strapped, their mouths are strapped. I don't see any smiles. That's like really sad. But once in a while, I see these eyes above this cloth that covers the expression of life. And myself, I rarely wear a mask unless I have to, and there's a lot of people that won't agree with me, and I'm fine, you don't have to, but let's just say I've traveled from Florida to Boston, back to Florida, up to Boston. I've driven a couple of times, I've flown to Thailand a couple of times. The first time they wouldn't let me in because I didn't have a piece of paper that said I had everything that I had. That's red tape, and that's okay because that's their rules. So I flew back again, and then they let me in, and they were kind. And I went to the Q Club for 14 days, the Q Club Deluxe. It took me 5 flights to get back to Thailand. The first one I booked, and it was an illegal flight. So they canceled all flights going into Thailand unless it was a repatriation flight. So that took me months to get my refund. And anyway, it was fine. It got canceled. The next one was I had my COVID test, and it expired by 2 hours, God forbid. So I went all the way from Massachusetts to New York, and they said, no, you can't get on the plane. So I had to drive all the way back. And then the third time, they didn't get me my visa in time because I paid them too much money. They wanted me to send them less money, but the overage they wouldn't hold, so they wouldn't send me my passport. So then, the fourth time, I flew back and they checked all my documents, let me on the plane and everything, and they weren't supposed to because I was missing a document, but they did. There was a really nice lady, but I flew all the way to Thailand, sat in immigration for 2 hours, and then they said, sorry, we can't. And it was a kind of a big deal because they tried to help me, but the rules said they couldn't. So I went upstairs and I sat for 6 hours. I got back on the plane and I flew back to New York City. And I'm like, hey, Rusty, so this is interesting. I didn't freak out. Of course, I wanted to come home to my home here in Thailand. Hadn't seen my wife for a long time. And I couldn't, so I had to go back to the USA and do it again. And this time, finally, I did it. And I got to the Q Club where my daughter is right now, but in a different hotel out by the beach, enjoying the fresh air. And her window opens, thank God, because we need fresh air. And so that's what I'm talking about here in this video is health, is wealth. So in the word wealth, how I define it is wisdom, energy, abundance, love, time, and health. Health is critical, especially now. And so why did I just tell you that little story about my travels? Because I was exposed to all kinds of people. And I was respectful, and I did what I was supposed to do. And I didn't get sick. And I don't believe the media for a second. And I know that the books are cooked and that there's a lot of fear out there and anxiety. And at least if you got to be inside or you need to be protecting yourself, do it through your health. Make sure you get like the right vitamins. I heard, zinc and vitamins. They didn't say anything about vitamin C, but I always load up on that. And D and zinc. And if you take zinc, you should take copper and a balanced mineral, I would say, and a balanced vitamin. And I've been doing that, and maybe a few amino acids. And I feel strong and I feel alive, and I ride my bike, but they just shut my pole down because somebody came over the border in Thailand and caused a problem illegally. Thailand had everything under control, then somebody screwed it up. So there's an upside to that someplace. But I want to speak of the importance of movement, of exercise, of deep breathing, of clean water, of clean food that builds our immune system. And I believe we can overcome anything. I've had my fair share of different health challenges, some of them pretty big. Because one time I took too many vitamins. And that's the case of extremism. And that's a whole nother story I won't get into. But I brought everything back to center and learn, as life is. It's a learning experience. So I just want to share what I've learned and what I know to be a truth is that when I take vitamins and nutritional supplements and herbs, take a lot of herbs, I have definitely more energy. I have muscle memory. So if I didn't exercise for a week or 10 days, maybe sometimes 2 weeks, if it's an extreme case, like when I was in the hotel, I kicked and moved and stuff, but I didn't have any resistance. That when I got back to the resistance, my muscle popped back. My fitness and my tone came back really fast. So when you feed your body the right elements, then including fresh air, sunshine, smiles, laughing, good energy, bonding with people and feeling them, even though they're upset and angry. Go beyond that stuff and know that deep within every living being is some light and love, and wish them light and love no matter what case they may be, or what shape or at what level they may be in. We must wish them light and love. And if enough people wish light and love, guess what happens? It shows up magically. Life and love. Light, love shows up. And people start wondering, what's happening? Like, I feel better and I feel happier. And life seems a little lighter because we shared some of our light and some of our love. The trick is somebody's angry and upset. They got us, maybe pushed a button, and we just got to pull back. And we have to just silence and send a thought, a vibration of love and light. And every challenge that I've had in my life with people, like in my business or in life, big challenges, but a lot of it in my head, where maybe I didn't have the courage years ago to just speak up. And how am I going to address this? So in my space, in my time, the hardest thing I could ever do is get in my center, raise my vibration, connect with spirit and energy above, charge up, and then send out simply send out love and good energy to that person. And sometimes it's so hard to do. It's so very difficult to do, but I just did it. And magically, the situation just kind of solved itself in a nice way. No conflict. How could I say a conflict-free way? Or in a higher vibration way. And when you're sculpting your life by drinking clean water, eating clean food, working on high positive energy, higher energy, then we get a shift slowly, as slow as it may be, it doesn't matter. But if we're consistent and we try and we put in effort, I know, I've done it. I mean, I've done this, I'm successful at it, and I am so grateful that I listened to the wise words of those that guided me. And no matter how I felt, I just did it. And I really love that Nike thing. Just do it. It's just so simple and so true. So take care of yourself. Stay fit. Eat right. Drink clean water. And get fresh air. Because when I was in my quarantine here, in my Q Club, my windows were closed for 3 days. And they were locked. They're big windows, a lot of light, and I started feeling awful. And I hadn't felt that bad in, I don't know, many, many years. And I just couldn't stand it anymore. And intuitively, I said, I just called. I said, please, can we open my windows? And I was so happy when they said yes, because some hotels, like in America, they won't let you because they think you're going to jump out. But here in Thailand, no problem. They opened the windows. The fresh air rushed in. And that night I slept and I woke up the next day feeling like totally charged and energized. Just fresh air. Even in the winter in the north, in the United States or any part of the world where it's chilly and cool, let some fresh air in because it'll charge you up. Stick your head out the window. It's cold. Boom, you get charged and you feel good. It's like a rush of fresh air. No drugs necessary, just a rush of oxygen and fresh air. Anyway, this is Peter Stone, and I know in these trying times, like they really suck at times, but I have made a conscious decision not to plug into any of this stuff and to know that it will always turn out good, great. One door closes, another bigger, better, greater door is waiting to open for all of us. All of us. All of us. Peter Stone, have a wonderful day, morning, evening, wherever you are in the world. Thanks for checking in. See you, Rusty. See you, Patrick.